All right, we are finally live. Welcome to the AM show. My name is Lerato Ali Masuvelele. Those who love me call me Lerato. Those who know me call me Ali. And I am the founder and CEO of AM Consultants. And what we do is we bring ideas to reality. All types of ideas. Right, so this is the very first episode, and it's been a long time coming. Some years in the planning and the making of this, but finally I'm glad that we are here and that we have something substantial to offer. So yes, the first episode is gonna be about the Ivory Route. Now, what's the Ivory Route? The Ivory Route is part of the Gateway series, which is a compilation of research papers written and compiled by AM Consultants on ideas that can change South Africa. Now, the Ivory Route focuses on the strategic development of the South African Financial Economic Zone. Now, I'm going to break this down so that it makes sense for everyone, and stick around because we are definitely gonna delve into how we can change our country and it can change our continent and ultimately the world and really just improve some lives. Right, now the first question is, what is a financial strategic economic zone? Right, a financial strategic economic zone is a place where finance is easy to source, right? So places like New York, Singapore, Shanghai, London has all types of financial firms, from banks to private equity to venture capitalists to startup funds. And what they do is mostly they really invest into all types of businesses, from startups to existing businesses to government businesses. And ideally, we have to have something like that in Africa. Now, I've been an entrepreneur for basically 10 years now. And the one thing I'll tell you for free is that raising capital is one of the most challenging things you can do in your business, right? And yes, in South Africa, we really have some institutions that are here. We have the NYDA, the NEF, we have SEDA, we have SEFA, and all of these are government-based funding agencies, and the banks do fund, right? But mostly they fund it. But for the expansion and for the sustainable development of the African economy, we really need like a solution that's gonna just take everything and take it to the next level, right? So according to the African Development Bank, the infrastructure funding gap in Africa by 2030 is estimated to be around 68 billion to 108 billion per year. However, the current annual infrastructure investment in Africa is only around 62 billion to 92 billion. Like, do you see that funding gap? So this funding gap obviously spans various sectors, so including transport, water, sanitation, electricity, and telecommunication. And obviously these are basic needs in order to sustainably develop a country. Now, the largest funding gaps are in electricity, which is about 33 billion per year, and transport at 30 billion US dollars per year. Now, bridging this infrastructure funding gap will require mobilizing more public and private infrastructure or private investment from both domestic and international sources, as well as improving efficiency of infrastructure project planning and delivery. Now, a few strategies that we can use is by increasing tax revenue, and we all know South Africa is leading in that, right? We can leverage public-private partnerships, so triple Ps, these are famous across the world, and we can access financing mechanisms like blended finance and infrastructure bonds. Now, within this financial strategic economic zone, we should have various types of institutions and businesses that offer these types of finances for different types of businesses. Because we have to be realistic. I mean, how are we going to fund 108 billion per year if we don't consolidate it in one place? If you don't make it easier to raise this type of capital in one area. Now, in America, people who are looking for finance can easily go to New York or can go to Silicon Valley. In China, people can go to Shanghai. In the Middle East, they can go to Dubai. In Europe, they can go to London. In the Middle East, they can also go to Singapore. So already the developing world has these centers, and that's why they've been able to progress much faster than the African continent has. You know? So let's think about like some of these free trade zones and, you know, how they've come about. Now, the Shanghai Free Trade Zone is the largest and most important financial strategic economic zone in China. It was established in 2013. So this is just 11 years ago. And it spans an area of 28 square kilometers. Now, a strategic economic zone obviously has special policies which make it very attractive for businesses to actually be based there, right? So this is low corporate tax rate, relaxed foreign investment restrictions, and easier access to capital. And that's exactly what we need here. Now, another place that has a financial center is Dubai. The Dubai Financial Hub is located at the Dubai International Financial Center and was established in 2004. It is regarded as one of the most important financial centers in the Middle East and offers numerous advantages for business, including zero corporate tax and a strong legal system and a very, very well educated workforce. Another one that we have is the Singapore Financial Center. Now, this financial center is one of the most important financial centers in Asia. It's known for its low tax, its efficient bureaucracy, its strong rule of law, and the SFZ offers a number of advantages to businesses, including corporate tax rate of 17%, a simple regulatory framework, and well-developed infrastructure. Now, let's go to the big dogs. The London Financial District in the United Kingdom is one of the most important financial centers in the world. It is known for its deep liquidity, its extensive range of financial products, its highly skilled workforce, and it offers numerous advantages like a very stable political environment, a strong legal system, and well-developed infrastructure. Now, those who know, London is also known as an offshore investment place. So that's why it's very liquid. Another one, well, let's go to the US of A, is the New York Financial District, located in New York City. It is one of the most important financial centers in the world, and it's known, again, for its deep liquidity, extensive range of financial products, and a very skilled workforce. So, majority of these financial strategic economic zones really share a few things in common. Firstly, there's liquidity. Liquidity being access to capital. Secondly, they have a very strong legal system, right? And they have a well-developed infrastructure. So infrastructure goes to the internet infrastructure, to the housing infrastructure, to the office infrastructure, because most businesses really just want to come in and just set up office, right? Now, financial districts play a pivotal role in fueling the economy with liquidity and consistently ensuring that markets are creating long-term value. So, you know, we have to really think about how are these economic zones or these financial strategic economic zones, creating value for their countries. So we used econometric analysis, English, to really calculate the economic value of each district per country and the GDP input. So let's go to Shanghai. So the GDP of China in 2023 was $17.7 trillion. And the Shanghai Financial District contributed $510 billion to the GDP, which contributes about 3% of China's GDP. Now, we have to remember that China is one of the world's biggest economies. Now, the Dubai International Financial Center contributed $30 billion to the GDP of UAE being $413 billion. Now, that's about 7% contribution to the GDP. In England, the GDP was $3.2 trillion. The London Financial District contributed $750 billion. Now, the percentage of this is 23%. In Singapore, the GDP was $560 billion. Wow, this equals the Shanghai Financial District. Wow, what a contrast. Now, the GDP of the Singapore Financial Center contributed $220 billion, bringing the percentage of Singapore's GDP to 39%. So the financial center in Singapore contributed about 40% to its GDP. That's how important that center is. In the US of A, the GDP of the USA in 2023 was $23.2 trillion, and the GDP of the New York Financial District was $2 trillion, this being the highest contribution of any financial center in the world. Now, this contributes to USA GDP at 8%. Now, as you can see, the financial district of these countries make up a significant portion of the overall GDP. In some cases, such as Singapore, the financial district contributes more than a third of the country's GDP. Now, this obviously shows the importance of financial districts to economies of this country. And let's think about the contribution worldwide of these countries. Now, let's think about some case studies where private equity funds and banks have partnered with countries in these specific financial strategic economic zones. Now, in Shanghai, Goldman Sachs opened an office, and the office is focused on investment banking, asset management, security services, and the partnership has helped the center to attract foreign investment to the zone. Now, the Dubai International Financial Center and Apollo Global Management recently partnered in 2015, and they opened an office in the financial center. And Apollo is a private equity firm that invests in a variety of asset classes, including private equity, real estate, and credit. And now this has helped the financial center to attract foreign investment to the zone and has helped the zone develop its infrastructure, its financial infrastructure. So as we can see, the financial centers and private equity firms are key to unlocking the true potential of all these financial centers. In London, BlackRock opened its office in the financial district, and BlackRock is the world's biggest asset manager, managing over $7 trillion in assets. Now, this is one of the world's biggest asset management companies, and it has helped the zone attract foreign investment and also help the zone develop its financial infrastructure. Now, are we seeing the trend here? Because as we can see, the trend is definitely attracting financial foreign capital. And so, yes, these zones are so important to the financial well-being of the global economy. Now, partnerships with leading private equity firms, developmental banks, and other various financial institutions will definitely help attract foreign investment, develop the financial infrastructure, and strengthen the financial sector in the district. Another example is the Blackstone Group and the New York Financial District, where the Blackstone Group is a global private equity firm that manages over 700 billion in assets. Now, the Blackstone Group has invested in a number of financial institutions in the New York Financial District, including Bank of America, Goldman Sachs, and really their goal is to just strengthen the financial sector in New York City and also attract foreign investment. Now, we can see again the trend, and we can go back to Singapore, where Temasek Holding is a sovereign wealth fund that manages over 300 billion in assets. And same thing, it has invested in a number of financial institutions in the Singapore Financial Center, including the DBS Bank and Singapore Exchange. Now, these investments have helped strengthen the financial sector in Singapore and have also helped to attract foreign investment. Now, let's bring this back home. How do we do this in Africa? How do we build a financial strategic economic zone? And how do we sustainably develop our country and Africa as a continent? Now, as per the Constitution of South Africa, we can initiate a public-private partnership, which is supported by various laws. And for more in-depth analysis of these laws, you can read the report, which is available at intheam.co.za. But the one thing we have to really think about is the impact. Now, assuming the proposed financial economic zone could contribute a similar proportion of, let's use Limpopo's province, right? Now, Limpopo's GDP is about 35 billion. The zone could potentially generate 7 billion to 10.5 billion in annual economic output. It could attract foreign direct investment because financial zones are known for doing that. Now, the Shanghai Free Trade Zone attracted over 21 billion in FDI in its first 5 years of operation. The Dubai International Financial Center has attracted over 10 billion in FDI since its inception. And the entire world knows that Africa is the new economic forefront. Now, conservatively, if the proposed South African financial economic zone could attract $2 to $5 billion in FDI annually, this would significantly boost investment and economic growth in the region. Now, financial centers typically create high-skilled, high-paying jobs, right? The London Financial District employs over 400,000 people. The Singapore Financial Center employs over 170,000 people. Now, assuming the South African zone could create 20,000 to 50,000 direct jobs, this would have a substantial impact on the employment and skills development in the Limpopo province and in South Africa. Now, this whole thing is about funding the infrastructure gap in Africa. there's an entire funding gap of 108 billion per year that needs to be raised in order to sustainably develop Africa. Now, the hub can operate as a centralized hub for infrastructure financing. The proposed zone could help mobilize and channel both public and private investment towards priority infrastructure projects across the continent. Conservatively, if the zone facilitates even 10 to 15% of the annual infrastructure funding gap, it could generate 6.8 billion to 16.2 billion in annual infrastructure investment. And that would make a big difference in Africa. Now, establishing a new financial economic zone in South Africa could provide several potential benefits for raising the infrastructure funding needed in Africa. We could attract investment capital, we could facilitate capital mobilization, we could leverage South Africa's position as one of the most advanced financial economies in Africa. We could boost financial innovation, and we could improve access to finance, because that is the mission of the Financial Strategic Economic Zone. Now, financing sustainable development in Africa will require some serious strides from both governments, private sectors, and communities alike. And the Financial Economic Zone creates a physical environment for all stakeholders to build a sustainable future for Africa. Because there's immense capital requirements across all industries required to lift Africans out of poverty, to provide sustainable development, and ultimately create a better future for all. Now, thank you for tuning into the first episode of the AM show. We hope it was informative. We hope that you liked what you hear. And if you have any suggestions, any comments, please do email us at info@intheam.co.za. And for all your hosting needs, you can visit our hosting partner inthemorning.co.za. And for project owners looking to list their projects for capital raising, you can go to community.co.za, and that is our contribution to financing sustainable development in Africa. We're building the next generation of financial innovation by giving project owners access to capital. So, see you at the next episode of the AM show. Have a lovely one.